It's niggas up there with so much time, they don't play, you can't squeak your shoes like basketball. Listen, it's niggas, when I say it's so cold, and when I speak of cold, bro, I mean dead souls floating around that motherfucker. That's how I felt. I felt like niggas didn't have no life in them no more. I felt like they know why they doing that, bro. Them boys, and that's gonna be miserable time. Ain't no phones in the state pen. You can get on the phone back to back. As long as you got somebody, guess what? You can't even use your call until 30 minutes, and they only give you 500 minutes a month.
Hello, King Yella speaks from experience. He says there's no rap, no fame, no clout in prison. When those doors close, all that's left is the man and his name. It doesn't matter how many followers you have, how much money you've made, or how many times your songs hit the charts. The feds don't care about that. In there, everything runs on respect.
And now you have to go against the feds with an unlimited budget. So it's like, it's not even...
And listen, man, it is a whole place. And them boys get cracked, they ain't going to no camps, none of that. Them boys going to USP, United States prisons. They know why they sent them there. That place right now, I just got the shivers through my motherfucking body, even reminiscing about this. When I tell you, Whitty.
Silence and survival. Yella says a lot of rappers don't understand that until they end up where everything is real. When he heard that Pooh Shiesty had problems with the GDS and the feds, he wasn't surprised. He knows how the system works in there. When a big name walks into any unit, everybody starts looking. Some out of curiosity, some out of envy, and others out of fear. But there's always someone who wants to test you.
I like Pooh Shiesty. Pooh Shiesty on the same yard, the same exact unit I've just paroled home from.
Which is weird.
He in USP Victorville, Unit 6B. He up there right now. Folks in them call, Yella, what's up? What's up with food? You know what I'm saying? He got songs with Dirk and this and Duck. Man, I'm gonna get on his ass, man. Leave that man alone, man. Let that man live his life, man. He ain't, he don't know no better.
So you had to essentially just let people know to not get on Pooh Shiesty while he's locked up there, you know what I mean?
Man, on my kids, niggas calling me from the feds. Folks, what's up? What y'all want us to do? What you want us to do?
It's inevitable. The feds aren't a club. They're not a stage. It's a place where every step could mean life or death. Yella explains that the GDS tried to press him, checking him, provoking him, trying to get a reaction. They wanted to see if he was real or just another rapper who talked street but didn't live it. But Yella says that when he heard what was happening, he immediately said, "Leave him alone." To him, it was clear Pooh Shiesty didn't need to be pressed. He's already paying his price.
He up there on South Time. He ain't on nothing. He up there. You know what I'm saying? He ain't on shit, man. I ain't the type of nigga, okay, he did a song, should've ducked, you know what I'm saying? Ducked this and Pooh Shiesty, obviously I ain't know no better. It ain't like Pooh Shiesty got on that this and ducked her. You know, niggas just be, like I say, fame a hell of a drug. Pooh Shiesty, a young nigga that just came up, you know what I'm saying? Dirk on the rise, man. You know, who wouldn't want a Dirk feature? All these niggas that want to do a Dirk, give these niggas a feature. All these niggas will do a song with that nigga.
And that's facts. Like, I'm glad that you are at this level. You know, it seems like you're a lot more level-headed, man. So you basically told them to leave him alone, man. It ain't that big of a deal.
Yeah, man. Folks don't let that man live, man. Leave him alone, man.
Already doing his time. Why push a man further when he's already lost his freedom? He speaks calmly, but every word carries weight. The feds ain't no game, he says. In there, you see who's real and who was pretending. When all those big names come inside, they don't have protection anymore. No bodyguards, no stage, no status. You're just another inmate. That's when you find out who you really are. Yella says Pooh Shiesty kept quiet. He didn't try to act tough, didn't yell, didn't throw threats. He just stayed himself. That's strength, Yella says. When you can stay calm where everyone expects you to explode. When everyone's watching to see if you'll break and you just sit there in silence, that's when people start respecting you. He explains that eventually the GDS realized Pooh Shiesty wasn't weak. He was just a man trying to survive, not looking for trouble. And after that, things settled down. But before it did, there were moments when it looked like things could get out of hand. In prison, one wrong word or one wrong look can turn deadly. Yella says he didn't want that to happen. He's seen what one bad decision can cost. He's watched men lose years of their lives over a single punch. That's why he chose to step in and stop it. I told them, leave him be. You don't know what he's going through, he says. You don't know what it feels like to sit and wait, not knowing what's next. You don't know what it means to listen to silence every night. His voice is firm but not angry. It carries the sound of someone who's been through the storm and now understands what matters. He says there's nothing scarier in prison than a man's own mind. When you're alone with your thoughts, they become your enemies. Yella says too many people forget that even those who made mistakes are still human. Even if you're locked up, you still have a chance to change. But when others keep pressing you, when they don't let you breathe, you close yourself off deeper, and then there's no way back. He says he didn't want Pooh Shiesty to experience that. I didn't see an enemy in him, Yella says. I saw a young man who made a mistake but still had a heart. And that's why I stood up for him. He explains that in prison there are unwritten rules. There are men who live by a code, men who carry honor. But there are also those who live off chaos, the ones who crave attention, who always want to be seen. They act like every day is a battle for reputation. But Yella says those kinds of people are always the first to fall. A real man doesn't talk too much, he says. A real man knows when to stay quiet. And when he speaks, everyone listens. He remembers the days when the streets still had rules, when young men respected the older ones, when there was order, even in the middle of violence. Now everything's changed, Yella says. Now everyone wants clout. They want to be known, they want to be seen. But they forget, fame without principles means nothing. It fades, but the consequences stay. Yella says Pooh Shiesty was young and had everything. Fame, money, a name. But the system is always watching. One mistake, one wrong move, and it all falls apart. When you're on top, everybody smiles at you, he says. But when you fall, that's when you see who was really with you. Pooh Shiesty found himself in a place with no friends, no enemies, just people trying to survive. And when the GDS tried to test him, Yella saw it as a trial, a test of whether he'd hold his own. And he did. He didn't break, Yella says. He didn't pretend, didn't try to be something he's not. He just stayed true to himself, and that made an impression. Yella talks about the importance of staying true, even when everyone around you tries to change you. When you're inside, you see who's real. There are no filters in there. You can't hide behind money or status. Your name means nothing if your heart is empty. He says that's why he respects those who stay quiet and solid. I don't need a man to shout that he's real. I see it in how he moves, how he talks to others, how he reacts when things get heated. If you can stay calm while emotions explode around you, you've already won. Yella says that the GDS and the feds have their own system. They follow order, but sometimes certain members act out of ego. They want to show power, to prove something to others. But that's not real power, he says. Real power is when you can stop a conflict, not start one. He explains that some GDS initially wanted Pooh Shiesty to prove himself, to show what he's made of. They waited to see if he'd react, if he'd bring out aggression. But when he stayed quiet, they saw there was no need. He wasn't looking for a fight. And after that, things changed. Yella says in prison, you see quickly who's a man. When the hard times come, you can't fake it. Your face tells everything. Your eyes show whether you're scared or ready. And Pooh Shiesty had that look, quiet but steady. The look of someone who already knows what it means to lose everything. He says a lot of people on the outside don't understand what it means to be locked up. They only see the stories, the music, the posts, but nobody sees what goes on inside. There's no music in there, Yella says. No likes, no followers, It's just you and your thoughts. And if those thoughts become stronger than you lose. That's why he says respect doesn't go to the loudest or the most famous, but to the calmest. When you see a man who can stand tall under pressure, who doesn't fold, you know he's real. Because in prison, you can't fake strength. You either have it or you don't. Yella talks about himself too. He says he's seen a lot, lost a lot, but still stood tall. I wasn't perfect, but I always had a heart, he says. I always spoke my mind. And if I see something wrong, I stand against it. Because silence makes you part of the problem. He says Pooh Shiesty reminded him of himself when he was younger. Ambitious, but not yet realizing how fast things can change. When you're 20 and everybody's praising you, you think you're untouchable, Yella says. But life always finds a way to teach you a lesson. And sometimes that lesson comes through pain. Pooh Shiesty is learning that lesson now. And Yella says he believes that when Pooh comes out, he'll be different. Maybe not everyone changes, but I see something in him that many lost. He still has a soul, Yella says. And if he keeps that, he'll come back stronger. Thanks for watching.